You are at Lake Rant, where I rant about whatever my $15 a month plus patrons want me to rant about. You can get one of these by being one of those. This one's for Will the Dill, who says, rant about the Aufwachen forums of the Symphogear openings. Aufwachen forum are extended versions of the songs with a whole minute of build-up added at the beginning, and it's pretty fucking rad. Here are some examples. These versions are then put in the climax of their respective seasons for maximum hype. What do you think of the songs? What's your opinion on Nanamizuki's singing talent? Can you think of any other anime that do that with their OPs? Symphogear has officially ended its 7-year run, and it is the anime of the decade by far. Why do you think it's so rare that new franchises emerge in the modern anime industry? Symphogear should be respected for that, if nothing else, and even if you don't like it, I think people should still care that it's over because it was made with passion and soul by everyone involved, a quality that cannot be said of most of the stuff that comes out these days. Anyways, this isn't my rant. Do your thing. Well, I'm glad you posted all that because now the Symphogear fans can be happy that somebody is saying what they want to hear, but I did not really enjoy these songs at all. I think that they come off as very like patchwork to me. It feels like disconnected parts that just very suddenly veer into one another, each of which is basically built out of like just electronic cliches, just over the top dance music that is, I don't know. I don't find anything interesting about it, and I don't think that the segments go into each other well. It just sounds like a bunch of random shit to me, a hodgepodge of sections. I'm not a fan of Nanamizuki singing, never really have been. I really feel like with Symphogear, the music reminds me of the show, which is not surprising, but like in both cases, everything about Symphogear, and I'm trying to describe this without like just calling it level 4 autism and calling it a day or whatever, but like it's just the appeal of it is like all these crazy disparate things that are all in this show together that some people are just excited about all of those things. It's like, oh, I'm excited to watch the cute girls and the fighting and the singing and the crazy action and all this shit that's going on. Like, you kind of have to be down for all of it. And it's like, for me, first of all, I don't like any of the music in the show, so that's a huge, like, that's a big ask, like I'm watching an action scene and I don't want to hear the music that's going on in the action scene, so it's like difficult for me to get invested on that level. I don't like the character designs at all. I think they're over designed and garish, and I don't like their weird faces, so like for me it's just everything about the show is difficult or repulsive in some way that seems to be exactly what's attractive about it to the people who like it. Now, granted, I've only seen a few episodes, and I've heard that the later seasons get crazy or whatever. Like, people send me clips from the show that they're like, oh, but look at this. And I'm like, that looks like nothing to me. It's just a bunch of girls screaming and doing crazy attacks or whatever. But, yeah, I don't know. These songs didn't do much for me. Moving down from the rest of your question, though, why do I think it's so rare that new franchises emerge into the modern anime industry? Because it's always a huge risk. I mean, it's an untested IP. Honestly, though, I think there's way more original stuff that comes out than people really give credit to. It's just a lot of it flies under the radar. Like, a lot of it straight up doesn't work. I'd love to do, like, a study, actually, and this is something I could do in like a day, but it would probably be all day of research, but to figure out what decade actually had the most original anime, because I would be willing to bet that it is the 2000s or the 2010s, like just by sheer volume of how much shit comes out now. And the fact that even an original show like Symphogear could have 5 seasons is crazy in any era of anime, really. I think a lot of it has to do with the background involvement of people like Shoji Kawamori. I think a lot of it has to do with the ability to sell the songs, because, I mean, pretty much since all time, one of the major ways that anime has been able to make money is through CD sales and promotion, because in Japan, CDs cost twice what they do here, and the CD market is still thriving. So, if you can make a bunch of tie-in singles and a bunch of music to sell alongside a show, it goes a long way in making it worthwhile. So I think the fact that the singing is integrated into the show is pretty much a huge part of why it can exist at all. Nana Mizuki is a very beloved vocalist amongst anime fans, so I think it was kind of a sure thing, you know, in that case. Like, being able to have the singing is why they were willing to go through with the show. But yeah, I mean, it's, again, just a big risk. It's way easier to bank on something that's already successful than something that is completely unproven. So, you know, I nonetheless, I think, I think it's healthier than people give it credit for. It's just that we're not going to get originals that have the same level of, like, crazy amounts of, like, money and effort put behind them that we got in, like, an 80s OVA or something. But most of those fucking things got canceled and never made it anywhere. So maybe we're better off. Who knows?